Are you?
Cold. it's
It is. It is.
it's 100% fall here. There's no coming back. Like our high later in the week is going to creep up to the mid 60s, but
No, it's cool here. It was like 48 this morning walking the dogs, and that I mean for the South that is
it
that
is like, and I don't know. I used to not think it was that cold, but then again, like 48, I stand that 48 in the fall feels different than 48 in spring, like coming into spring for us. But oof, it's been
no.
chilly, man.
Well, we have some great stuff to talk about today. I'm excited to pick your brain about a breaking news story in the hotel world. We haven't even talked about it, guys, live. So you're going to
Yeah.
get first impressions here on the show. So let's begin, guys. I'm Jason Poole. I'm a travel advisor with Cruise Planners. And we just come to you once a week and talk about all things to do in the travel industry, the good, the bad, the ugly. And by ugly, I mean Delta. No Delta talk today, though, shockingly. But
They're in the tip.
the clip. So to join me in my endeavor is Miss Haley. Introduce yourself and how are you?
Hello, everybody. My name is Keely Whitey, and I own the hotel sales support company Hospitality with a Flair, servicing hotels all over this country at this point. And I travel blog and like to talk travel with Jason all the time. This is pretty much our hobby, just live.
I love it. So let's dig in. The first topic is it is a little bit somber. It is about the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. If you've been paying attention, there are Americans stuck over there, and the State Department, the United States Department, and Royal Caribbean have worked together. Royal Caribbean is sending a ship over there. I believe it's Rhapsody of the Seas to get people out of the region and get them to safety. So kudos to the Royal Caribbean group, kudos to Royal Caribbean International for making this happen and trying to get people out of there.
I can't remember. I was trying to find it. I think there was one other line or entity that sent some stuff over to get people. I couldn't find it though.
I
But I
mean,
know I saw it somewhere.
yeah, I mean, so the Royal Caribbean already canceled some sailings over there, which makes sense. I mean, that was the region where they were. So they canceled the sailing. So the ship was already there. So I think that is just a great. People are trying to ask me if they should cancel 2024 trips and cruises in the region. I think it's a little too soon to start thinking about canceling 2024 stuff. But, we will just, there's really
So
nothing to say other than just we'll keep monitoring.
typically speaking, unless it's that kind of, Middle East style cruise, like if you're on an Eastern Med that's doing those stops, like you did with Seabourn, right? It was Seabourn.
Yeah.
They could just change out the port.
Yeah, well, Seaborn left from Israel. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I know I've seen like some Princess ones that stop there.
I would
Um,
be totally fine. I personally would feel safe still going to like Greece. I mean, I'd feel fine in that region. But I mean, well, there's nothing to say other than just kudos to Royal, and we'll keep monitoring it. So, not not much to say. So, guys, this is one where I'm just going to read the headline, and then I'm going to let Haley take it away. So, there was a little bit of breaking news today. Choice Hotel is basically trying to do a hostile takeover of Wyndham, saying they're going to pay X number of dollars per share. It ends up being like almost $8 billion. Breaking news this morning. I'm really dug into it. Haley, what is going on? Why did they do this? Is it good? Is it bad? Go.
do you want Dial or Dove? For my soapbox here, which one are we doing? So I'm not surprised
Okay.
because Choice has kind of been on a little buying rampage with they just purchased Radisson Group.
Okay.
So Country Inn and Suites, Radisson. Before that, they purchased this other smaller extended stay brand called Woodspring. Um, so that doesn't come as a huge surprise to me. Wyndham's got a lot of debt. Um, you know, Pandemic issued debt and whatnot. And I think with the bigger brands like Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, starting to poach in on a little premium economy space like the new Hilton Sparks. I forget what Hyatt's is, that studio style,
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
name of it. It makes sense in the realm of buying power. In essence, with these two being able to merge, it expands the portfolio significantly. And for rewards members, that's a huge benefit. When you look at, for example, when you're looking at Marriott, how many hotels they have to choose from. That's huge. I think where I get a little concerned on it from a consumer side, part of me, is pricing. What's that going to do with pricing? I would foresee that it goes up a good amount. But it's going to be interesting to see because these two brands, like, and we work with a variety of these clients too. Marriott's probably our biggest client that we work with, but we have quite a few choice in Wyndham Hotel properties, and these brands separately have just struggled with that brand consistency. So maybe putting it all under one umbrella will assist more in that brand consistency that will then, increase tenfold over when you have the whole entire portfolio
Okay,
available to customers. So I think overall, I'm a fan of it.
good.
Overall.
I mean, there's nothing more to say. Like I said, this is your world, your baby. So thanks for the.
Our team chat at work with all my team is all like, beep, 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 beep. I should have just shared the screen. Everybody has some thoughts.
Wow. All right. So the next two topics are somewhat related. The cruise lines and the cruise industry are reporting higher than demand sales. They've been raising prices, and the sales are continuing to come. I remember even a couple weeks ago, even a couple months ago, Jason Liberty, the CEO of the Royal Caribbean Group, said, "We think there's room for us to move prices up." Carnival has said, "We are going to start moving prices up because as land-based vacations have become more expensive, cruises think they have more room to move up to get closer to that land-based vacation price." So the industry watchers are saying there's no sign of slowing down in the cruise industry. Prices are going to go up. Haley, we're seeing this in hotel world too, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it happens. It's the way of the world. I think for me, when I'm looking at this, and I get it, expenses, everything's more expensive.
Yep.
When you try to increase wages, cost of, like in hotel world, food product, bath product, everything's up. I think when I look at that from a consumer standpoint, it's more so, okay, the prices are going up, but is the value of what I'm buying still there? And that's what I think is making me just in general shop around a little bit more. Because if I'm, we've said it on here before, if I'm going to spend X amount of dollars, I'm going to do that. Case in point, you and I talked about, like, I was on the Apex finally for the first time this year. And I got a really great deal on a Sky Suite. I think it was about $5,000.
It was a good deal.
A really good deal. That same cruise right now is like $8,000. Like
Right.
same time of year, same-ish itinerary. And I'd say, like a Sky Suite for me, I think around 7 for a Caribbean sailing, I think is fair. But I'm like, man, if I'm going to spend $8,000, I could spend a little bit more, or in that price point, maybe get something a little bit better. That's just the way that I'm starting to.
You know what? Let's continue this and segue to the next topic and kind of lump this all together.
Yes.
So Disney just came out and said effective immediately, prices at Disney World and Disneyland are increasing. The annual price is jumping nearly 10%. Parking is going up. Day pass is going up. Park hopper going up. So effective immediately, prices have gone up at Disney. So we're seeing this at Disney. Now, my question to you as a Disney fan Seeing reports this summer that the parks were not full.
So they never are in the summer.
Okay.
I think some of that comes from the political climate in Florida.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm going to throw that out there. But also, putting my hotel hat on, I would rather less people and a higher rate. It's finding that balance of people versus rate. Like I tell my hotels all the time, be like, look, we could have cheap, an $80 rate and sell out your 100 rooms at $80.
Right.
Or we could sell 70 rooms at $130.
Right.
That kind of wears down your cost. Because if you think about it, like a place like Disney, the wear and tear on the rooms, like you're talking in a hotel room, it's generally not just two people. You generally have families of 4, 5, and the inclusions and whatnot. There's a reason. There's a reason. When I look at that, that's kind of where I feel like Disney could be from a standpoint, because the last thing you want is your prices to be high. We all know Disney's prices are high.
Right.
And to just feel like the parks are at the brim of exploding at the same time too. So I kind of, when I look at the Disney lens as a consumer and a professional, it's more so with that. Because I'm okay paying a bit more for the experience without completely overflowing parks. Of course, there's those times of the year like Christmas and stuff where it's going to be packed regardless. But it's supply and demand. A lot of people, we get people in hotel world that call it and be like, oh, well, I stayed, at the Hampton Inn in, Des Moines and my rate was $90. Why is it $130? Like it's a supply and demand thing.
It is. It is. So what do consumers do who are trying to save money on these cruise prices going up, save money on the Disney trips going up? What did they do to get a good deal?
For me, it's travel agents for the most part. That's where I would point. You have access to different group rates.
I do.
There's also different services like Uplift and stuff now that can let you space out your travel plans in an even monthly amount, which is great. And then you may need to look at something a little different. Like I know so many people up here that go on vacation, spring break, they're going to Florida, they're going to Disney, they're cruising out of Florida, and the airfare alone is like $1,000 a ticket round trip.
You actually, we were on the same page. So I was saying the same thing, like travel agents, like book early, right? Book your 24, even early 25 stuff now, lock in those rates. But to your point about air, there are vacations, cruises, resorts, etc., that will include airfare in the package, right? So sometimes those prices can have a little bit of a sticker shock at first. You're used to paying $7,000 for your Sky Suite, but you could book a trip and it's $9,000, but it includes round trip first class air to Alaska or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's even to the point like with families. Like I've told multiple families up here, we're taking some families with us. When we have Olivia for that break, we don't do Florida and stuff like that anymore. We just don't. We go to Europe. That shoulder season for Europe, it's a great price. Now I get it, if you're looking for sunshine and a beach, it's a different story, but like you're going to pay for it.
Right.
But we're taking the new MSC Europa for the 3 of us. We have an extra room for the kids. So we have a suite. I think it was maybe $4,000 for a week. And the airfare, I got an Air France for 20,000 points round trip.
Not bad. But it's funny, even MSC has said their prices are going up too.
Yeah. I don't know why MSC had rates as low as they did. Like, I just kind of sat there, like, I was kind of crunching the calculator as like a hotel person. Like, the cost to service a room? What is the room
Right.
like? I was kind of like doing that little bit. But my other thing is like search for alternatives. Like there's also great rates out of California, and the airfare's cheaper. So, kind of think outside the box a little bit.
You know what? That is also a perfect segue to our next
I was just
topic.
thinking about that as I looked at it.
This is great. Norwegian Cruise Line came out with, well, first of all, Norwegian has always been a great cruise line for solo travelers. They've often had, especially in the newer ships, a good number of solo studio cabins. They have lounges that are just for the solo cruisers, and like they all connect in the lounge. You can meet other solo cruisers. Really neat idea. They came out and said they are going to add 1,000 solo staterooms across the fleet. They're really making a play for these solo travelers. And I'm loving this trend. We're seeing this trend with Explorer Journeys is going this way. Regent is really starting to push some solo rates. AMA Waterways is pushing a lot of solo rates. I think there is an untapped market in the cruise industry for solo travelers.
There is, because there's so many questions. Like I'm in a couple different travel forums and stuff and groups, and there's so many people that are extra cautious because they're going to be traveling solo, and rightly so.
Right.
Especially if you're trying something new. And I think there is that ability because, you get that little extra comfort added in for that. Plus, you're not paying for two. I think that's kind of long detracted people from doing cruising because of that solo supplement.
Right.
We get it. Like I understand like why it is what it is, but
I tell people it's like hotel rooms. You buy the hotel room if it's one or two people.
It's based on double occupancy anyways. Yeah.
No. Okay. So I think that's great. Now let's go into our question of the day. This is something you brought up and I really like it. What's something that you used to do when traveling, but you don't do anymore?
I don't souvenir shop anymore, typically speaking, in the traditional sense. Like I used to love, probably like 6-7 years ago, I used to love getting like a shirt from each place that I went because I did a lot of cruising too at that time. And now it's kind of faded out to, like whenever I go to Paris, I love going to this one little wine shop and bringing home wine.
Yep.
Or butter or something like that. Like I honestly don't bring a lot of stuff home anymore. Like I don't do a whole lot of souvenir shopping. That is one of my bigger ones. What about you? I'm trying to think what else I do.
So I don't buy a lot of souvenirs. I say that as I'm staring at my Galapagos bird on my desk. I don't do a lot of souvenir shopping. I have some friends that like me to pick up stuff. And, so I'll pick up stuff for friends that, like, hey, get me a shot glass from a place you go. So, I come home with those as gifts, right? One thing I know I don't do anymore is cruise ship excursions. I used to think, oh my goodness, we're in St. Thomas. I'm going to do snorkeling catamaran. I got to book a short excursion with the cruise line. Or I'm in Greece and we're going...
I'm not going to get back to the ship if I don't book a cruise line excursion.
Yeah, and I the only time, since the pandemic restart, I've booked 2 cruise ship excursions. One was in the Southern Caribbean during the restart and summit. We had to. If you got off the ship, you had to book a cruise ship excursion. It was a COVID thing, right? Mm-hmm. And the second one was just transfers to Taormina and Sicily. It was literally just the bus down, dropped us off, bus back. Wasn't even an excursion. It was just a transfer, right? But I do recognize that there are some places, like Pam just coming on here made me think of stuff. Like there are some excursions that only the cruise line can do. And I'm thinking of specialty places like
Alaska.
Like if you want to go do the morning excursion to go like sail up to the glacier and hike on it, like you got to book that through. If you want to go do like a multi-day in the South Pacific, the Sounds, there are sometimes you have to, but as a rule, if there is an option to not do a cruise ship excursion, that's something I really I don't do. Another thing I don't do
I love Pam right here. She's like, I no longer sit in the sun. Give me shade in the beach. That's a change as well. I used to love to lay out, and now I'm like, oh, my
I know. So I used to be a complete over planner. I used to make a spreadsheet of every day, try to figure out if this is for a cruise, which night were formal nights, which outfits I was going to wear. I would even try to find the menus for the dining room in each night and schedule when I was going to go to a specialty restaurant. Like I used to plan, plan, plan. Now I am just, I'll figure it. I mean, I've literally gone to Europe and had nothing booked. And I remember literally texting you one day. We were in, oh my goodness,
Was
we
it
were
the day that
somewhere.
was it the day you went to Monaco?
Yes, yes, yes. I was like, hey, wait, I don't know what I'm doing today. What should I do today? And you were like, I don't know, maybe go to Monaco. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And off I went.
That made
So,
me think I don't really do the big to do for formal nights anymore. Like I used to like always bring like gowns and stuff, and now I'm like, oh, that's so much crap to
yeah, look, and Pam said I saw overplan, and that's fine, right? And I used to say part of planning the vacation was fun, but as like a travel planner, when I plan people's trips all the time, sometimes it's nice for me to just get somewhere and just veg out, okay? And I
and
just
it's so true. And that, and you can do that to a degree, like in Europe too. Like now that, we've all been a few times between you and I, and I'm taking, like I said, new people in the spring. I'm like, they'll be like, okay, what are we going to do in this part? What are we going to do this part? I'm like, part of the joy for me, like with Europe, is just being and existing in that moment.
one of my favorite things to do is in the Med, and I will say more Western Med. Eastern Med is a bit more planning, in my opinion. It's more of the Capri, it's more of the Pompeii,
You
Greek.
can't quite walk off.
Right. It's a bit more planning. Western Med is a bit more get off the ship, explore a town. And I just love walking through these towns, finding a cafe, espresso, a croissant, glass of champagne. Like I just love just wandering through the streets in Europe. And
Absolutely.
those are some of my favorite days. And but this is one reason I enjoy going on. I always recommend like cruising for group trips is because you can do whatever you want. I mean, when you and I went to
That's why
Alaska,
I did a cruise wedding.
right? When you and I went to Alaska, I think about this all the time, and I tell clients all the time. They're like, "So Alaska is all about go, go, go." And I said, there's a funny story, and I'll name drop this Pam's in here. I said I have some great clients and great friends. Pam, Larry, and they, especially Larry, is just go, go, go in Alaska. Like they were doing like 2 excursions a day.
They were.
It was insane. Okay. Now, I enjoyed Alaska almost for a different reason. I enjoyed it because it wasn't so hot. It was beautiful. And I got to kind of relax a little bit. Now, there are some excursions I want to do when I go in August with my group. Plug, so I have some group rates, Edge, August, Alaska. There are some things I kind of want to do. Like I want to go see like the puppies. Like there are some things I kind of want to do. But I'm looking forward to just chilling out. And I thought it was great. The day Larry got on the boat at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was on my balcony sipping my espresso, waving to him and like, have fun, crazy man. I'm sitting here. I'm enjoying the world go by. So I don't overplan. That's me. So
No, and I think it's one of those things when you're going to go back. For some people, those are trips that are, like once in a lifetime. They have a different schedule. They don't work from home like you and I, and can work from anywhere. I think Alaska, like I joked with Jeff, I was like, that might turn into like my new maybe yearly decompress cruise because they're so cheap at the end of August. Because, as much as I loved being in the Med, I don't like being that hot anymore. I just don't. And I honestly now feel like I could do Alaska for the most part and almost like stay on the ship and just enjoy the
Mine,
scenery, not sweating. Not
I was talking about this yesterday. I'd lumped with a good client. I was talking to her and I said, my favorite day in Alaska was the morning we sailed into, was it Hubbard Glacier? Which glacier did we go to?
Dawes.
Dawes. Beautiful. That morning, it was magical. And I remember texting. This is a funny story. So I ran to the front of the ship if you sail in. So here's an Alaska tip for you. Run to the front of the ship like everybody else to watch the sailing. No, sailing in. It was Dawes. Beautiful. It was stunning. I'm like, all right, this is beautiful. Let's go get lunch. So I was with my good friend Michael. We go eat. And we're like, hey, let's go eat outside, aft of the ship. Views are even better. I text Haley. Oh my gosh, Haley, I don't know what you're doing. You've got to get to the back of the ship. And she goes, where do you think I am? Hold on, I can see you. She was one deck above me in the back of the ship. So on that morning, when you sail into the glacier, typically it's on Juneau Day when you get to Juneau late, go to the back. It's beautiful.
Oh, literally. And the greatest thing about like those Solstice class ships, like that's where I put my dad up there. My dad brought his scooter and we got the chairs set up, is because they have the lawn club. There's blankets outside.
Yeah.
So we just chilled out with blankets. There were servers going around from the Sunset Bar doing like hot cocoa, spiked hot cocos, hot toddies. Like
it makes me almost want to change my room on the Alaskan cruise to a sunset
veranda. Yeah.
But it's just so far away from the retreat. That's the only negative. You know, an edge class retreat is forward.
Yep.
That's the only negative. Okay. We totally got derailed. I'm sorry.
We did. We went down a rabbit hole.
Sorry.
But I am so excited for this tip, though.
Okay.
So this isn't official yet.
Okay.
But this is an incredible tool. I cannot wait for it to be. So there is going to be a new extension coming to Chrome for this website called Points Path. You can go to their website. You can sign up to be on their list. They're taking like early access list right now. When you add this extension into Chrome and search Google Flights, it will tell you the points price on that flight and if it's available for points.
Wow.
Right now, it's just for AA, United, and Delta. But you will be able to see, like, nonstop, 20,000 points, $541.
Wow.
I was very excited about this one today.
That could be cool when you're trying to find like international from different, but you could search like, hey, search from JFK, DTW, and ATL.
And it'll end up pulling you through to like the direct website.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
No matter which option you pick. I think it is
a good one.
Fantastic. I cannot wait for it to come out. I already signed up. So highly recommend. It's just pointspath, I believe.com, or just search Points Path in Google. Check that out because I'm super excited for it because I definitely love my credit card points and frequent flyer miles.
That is a great tip. So guys, thank you so much. Sorry we went a little long today, but hopefully you learned some new things. And so Haley, next week, I will be in Basel, Switzerland, getting on my Ama River cruise. I assume I will still be able to do the show, but it'll be in the afternoon. Should be boarded by then. So hopefully in 1 week, I'll be coming to you live from a Ama River ship.
I'm very excited to see how that boarding goes because they say it's more like it's not traditional boarding. It's more of like just going and checking into a hotel.
Seabourn was that way. Seabourn was just like the thing about, well, we could get down a rabbit hole again. But yes, Seabourn was very, very, very easy. It's like checking into a hotel. So all right. Well, hopefully next week I will be live from Switzerland.
And you're finally going to Paris for the first time.
Let's not jinx it yet. Let's not jinx it. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Au revoir.
Bye.